Hey guys, this is Bonfrey from L World and Ephesus. This is FOE Advance, where we talk about microstrategies and so forth in long format. So if you're here for the quick hit, probably not going to get it here, but if you stick around, you might find some things out. I don't know. We'll see. But thanks for joining those of us that are here and those of you that have reached out to me to say, hey, keep doing what you're doing. So I'm going to keep with it for now. But today I wanted to chat a little bit about the GB strategy I've had here. Even though I see a lot of newer players, and when I say newer, I mean maybe those who are new to the game, who started up in Ephesus, I see them in many cases building a ton of great buildings. Like, I mean, I counted one player who was like less than 10 million points that was in one of my guilds had 21 great buildings. And, you know, I would say that's an extreme just because with so many valuable, even freemium event buildings becoming available, building that many GBs is like, jack of all trades, master of none. And, when you're at certain levels, I think certain GBs make sense, if anything, for a temporary amount of time, right? So I think there are classic GBs that are always going to, of course, be durable in this game, depending on what they do for you. And I've tried to stick with those here in Ephesus. The Virgo is kind of a joke, so I'm going to be deleting that. In fact, I'm just going to delete it right now. So anyway, that was like just a thing we were doing in my last guild here on Ephesus, and since that time, I just started my own guild here for others to join that are more in like growth mode or want some help with strategies, etc. I'm not starting a competitive guild. It's a qualitative versus quantitative one. So anyway, that's that. But let's get back to great buildings. So I have wanted to be super focused, and I'm still really happy that I have been here because for me, my goal, and I think I stated this in the earlier videos, when I joined Ephesus in October of 24, just before the October, event, I said, yeah, I'm going to focus all my energy on the Arc. And as my city, I'm up to 165 right now. So as my city has increased in production, I've had to actually build a couple of peripheral GBs to sort of soak up my forge points when I can't bank them. Even when I've been in fairly large guilds, sometimes, folks just aren't on. We do have the Global 190 here on Ephesus for those that participate, and that can help, but a lot of times I've got 6,000 FP that I don't know what to do with. And so I went ahead and built the BG, the Seed Vault, the OBS, and then another kind of joke thing is I built the Oracle. I'm going to keep the Oracle, and get it really high just so people go, WTF? Is that about? So just got to have some fun, honestly. If this game is all work and no play, it's just I don't even want to be around, honestly. Like I have a job. I don't need this to be an unpaid job, that's for sure. But something I noticed interesting about the OBS is that I appreciate it when players are focused on their OBS because it makes them appealing to guilds, right? So if guilds are the more competitive guilds, they're going to say, hey, we want to see an OBS. But what I realized is that because of my journey here and being a crazy diamond spender since I started, 7 months ago or whatever, I've got all this other stuff, and turns out most of any of these event buildings that give guild goods to the treasury far outpace the OBS. I mean, my OBS is at level 32 just because it's kind of a waste for me to level it because, okay, great. Even if my OBS is putting out 100 guild goods a day, I mean, I think I'm contributing like 5,000 guild goods a day just because of all this other stuff, right? So at that point, the OBS is just sort of like, why even bother? In fact, I'm probably going to delete it since I'm in my own guild now. So, that's that. So again, I really wanted to say that my focus has been my goal, my vision, right? when I built up an L over the last, dozen years or whatever, the journey was different. Like I think I would just had this feeling like I should build GPs because I liked the way they look, or I thought they could help me a certain way. And I've just gotten a lot more streamlined with that. So what I did want to talk about is when you're an earlier era player, right? Not necessarily, let's say specifically, you need to grow your battle stats. Okay, so whatever position you're in, whatever era you're in, you want to increase your battle stats. Clearly, one of the most powerful ways to do that is to grab event buildings, right? And of course, if you want to spend a little bit and get the chests on some of these events, you can really blow up your battle stats fast. But if you're going freemium and you need to kind of get out of the mud, I really do recommend building some of those early GBs just to get yourself, to where you need to be, right? So I've started looking at the Trinity, especially, as like buildings that are a temporary fix. But as soon as you can replicate and outdo the stats that those buildings are giving you, I would delete them. I mean, honestly, great building deletion wasn't even discussed before maybe a couple of years ago. And I've just been, ruthless on, in the last year or so, deleting GBs. Like Chateau Frontenac, gone, Temple of Relics, gone. Alcatraz, gone, because even in my L world that I'm speaking of those about, it's like just redundant, unneeded stuff. Anyway, like I've been talking with Victoria. She follows my channel, and we were talking about her growth here. And I don't know exactly how long she's been on World, but she's got a fair amount of buildings. But I know from what she says, she's done her research, and these are all decent focus buildings in my opinion. I mean that getting these up to at least 10, I don't think there's any problem with that. It just depends on my advice would be, hey, get rid of maybe the Zeus I'd keep because it's so small. Like I never really want to crap on the Zeus, but the COA is big enough. Yeah, get rid of it. Again, the OBS, if you're not able to have other buildings that are far outdoing it, keep it. The CDM, too big, get rid of it. Once you get your stats where you want to go. And the TOR, oh my God, it's huge. I do think it is good at where Victoria's at in the game. I think it makes a lot of sense because, you need some of the things you get from the TOR benefits. If you're playing GE already, great. I mean, you're going to get some reno kits and some one-ups and, various things. Once you get enough, though, you need to decide what's enough. I think at least 30 renos and one-ups, and now we, of course, get those from other special buildings that we've gotten along the way. But again, depending on when you started in this world, you may not have that stuff. So I think keep the TOR until you have a baseline, right, of those upgrades you need to era up based on your own plan. I mean, I feel like there's never enough, but I always kind of ran it like as long as I could maintain around 30 of each of one-ups and renos, I could probably get rid of the TOR. So again, it's not a real expensive building to put down. It's expensive because it's huge, and then you really need to look at, like anything else in this game, the balance of real estate and return on investment. The AO, I mean, it's just a machine. I got my battle sets up so fast just from the spending concept that I never built one, and I'm still not going to build one. BG, of course, one of my favorite buildings. It's amazing. And there are some things about the BG, like don't level it past a certain point. I'm not going to go into that right now, but when you see blue BGs, they're like over 100. It's like, no, stop doing that. Don't level that thing anymore, because it gets too expensive for really almost no benefit. So anyway, again, these are examples of, I think, having discipline as a younger player in this world, where you need battle stats, right? So you sort of put this stuff up and have your guild members help you. It's not all on you anyway, and then go from there. So So anyway, that's my take on. I think where I'm at is some GBs are forever, others are to help you in your journey, others are for just because you like them, or you've got some reason based on your gameplay strategy that you want those things, right? But other than that, I would say keep it lean and mean, right? And just pay attention to what you're needing, where you're at in the game. And if any of you have questions about that, about like, well, what is enough or whatever, it's good to ask your other guild mates about like, hey, how many battles are you getting in, say on battlegrounds, to what attrition, right? And what are your stats, right? So that gives you an idea. Okay, well, you need to know the era too. So it's good to have a sample of like, so what we did in my last guild that I was not the founder, I was like part of it in Thunderstorm. We had a thread where it's like post your stats, and it would help in your eras and stuff like that. I think I want to do the same thing in my new guild, because as we grow, it'll help others understand like what attrition level you can get to. I mean, if you do the higher age unit strategy, like the attrition levels in battlegrounds are just insanity. I mean, if you get captured hover tanks, and I mean it's like into the hundreds, if you're at a much lower era and capturing hovers. So that's like a whole different thing. That's the HAU strategy. But other than that, I've noticed as I've aged up, I'm now in SAM, and I'm ready to go to Sob. I don't like Sob, but it's just this the next one, right? And really, the only reason that I level up is honestly because, well, I have the channel and I want to be able to talk about the different eras, but also just more land tiles. In all honesty, it allows me to make my city more productive with more land tiles, and the only way to get those extra ones is to age up, of course. So anyway, that's why I've ended up in SAM. I'm kind of sticking here for a little bit. I mean, the SAM battle units are okay. I feel like after FE, everything's just kind of sucks compared to hovers in terms of the effectiveness. The hovers are just way overpowered, which is wonderful and great. But it's like, how long am I going to stay in FE? I want to keep growing. I want to keep going. And that's just my deal, right? I don't think everybody wants to do that. I think there's a lot of players that are happy to be in, progressive forever and have higher age units or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, it's like, make it your own. But again, if you want to check out Ephesus, or you're on the server and you want to check out my guild, it's just called Bonfreeze FOE Advanced Guild. And Bear just joined today, and so did Jubal. I think Jubal's been playing a long time. Well, so is Bear. So it's going to be nice to have these guys, because they're in a mode of they reached out because I'm like, hey, I want to have a helping guild, a learning guild, come for a day, stay for your life, whatever. And they have that same mindset. So I'm pretty excited about that. So that's really where we're at on that. But anyway, that's just a sort of a GB recap for you guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.